Okay, so we're going to be looking at our top 5 best pictures from over the years. There's been 92 Best Picture awards given to date, so there's quite a lot to choose from there. To whittle it down to just 5 is kind of a difficult thing. So what I've done, I've stuck to 80s and early 90s because this was my first sort of exposure to the Oscars, seeing it on TV and whatnot and seeing who won. I have my own personal reasons for picking these films, but mine generally fit into that time period.
It's difficult to sit there with the list and go, oh, what is the best 5 out of these? Because it was so extraordinary. I mean, there's some films on there I was like, don't agree with that being there. But
of course.
But it's an extraordinary list of films, and it was quite difficult to whittle them down to 5.
So let's start in at number 5. Let's see what we've chose at number 5. Take away the screens. Okay, so I've gone for Unforgiven, which I think won in 1992. Clint Eastwood came back, did a Western. It's probably his best Western, I think.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic film. I almost put it in mine. It was in there and I removed it. But yeah, one of my favourite Westerns, as we talked about in our top 5 Westerns last year.
Yeah, I mean, he was famous as a cowboy. He kind of took over that John Wayne mantle in a way and became America's toughest cowboy. And he did all the spaghetti Westerns in the late 60s, 70s, and then did a slew of his own Westerns throughout the 70s and 80s. And then he took a break from it for a while. Westerns were kind of out of fashion for a little while, but then he comes back with Unforgiven. And I'm not surprised it won the best film because it's such a bloody good. It's bigger than just being a genre film. I think it's a really well put together film.
I've gone for Gladiator.
Okay.
I mean, it was obvious why this won at the time when it won, because it was for the first time in a long time, a big historical epic. And traditionally back in the 50s and 60s, historical epics were complete Oscar-winning for films.
Ben-Hur and things like that.
Stuff like that, yeah. So, but fantastic film. I think it's one of the best of those kind of things, especially in recent history. Although that's 20 years old now.
Exactly. I mean, it was not long beforehand Braveheart had won Best Film. And even though that's based a little bit more in historical fact, even though I'm led to believe that, nothing in that film is actually accurate. Not surprising. But Gladiator is not based in any fact at all. They never said it was. It's not, it was just a fictional film, even though it's based in an era where those kind of things happened. But of those 2 films, I much prefer Gladiator.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Yeah, I think the accuracy comes from, this sword is accurate of the time and these things happened. The story itself is, of course, totally fictional, as you say.
Yeah.
But fantastic action, great story, upsetting at the end. It's a real
it ticks a lot of boxes. Got a lot of great Oscar-worthy ingredients in there. Okay,
absolutely.
Let's move it along. Let's go to number 4. Our number 4 picks. Take away the screens. Let's have a look. Okay, so I went for Rain Man. I think that won Best Picture in around 1988. Obviously, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise. Hoffman obviously won Best Actor for his portrayal of a man who has severe autism. Great drama between the 2 brothers. Great road movie. Really magical film, in my opinion. I really love it still.
Yeah, it is an amazing film and well-deserved acting Oscar as well for Dustin Hoffman. The autistic savant. It's a brilliant film, and I mean that started that kind of movement of over the next few years, those kind of films that are kind of modern dramas about people. Thinking of Forrest Gump winning a few years later and stuff. Sure. It was a bit of a period then of those kind of films, and Rain Man, superb. I went for Platoon.
Platoon, yeah.
I think that's perhaps my favourite Vietnam War film because it's so
realistic.
A film that's almost without hope. It is brutality. And just
well,
so
yeah,
powerful.
Oliver Stone had obviously served several tours in Vietnam. It was basically coming straight from his memory of his time serving over there. So even though it's an amalgamation of a lot of different things that he experienced into the one narrative thread, it's a very powerful film. So yeah, let's have a look at our number 3 picks. Let's take away the screens. And there we go. I had Platoon at number 3. So we're on a similar wavelength there.
Absolutely. There we go. It appears again. I've gone for Midnight Cowboy, which we mentioned earlier.
We did, 1969.
The first R-rated picture to actually win Best Picture. Or X-rated.
I think it was R-rated at the time. It avoided an X rating by doing one or two things. I think they fought for it to be an R rating rather than an X rating, but because of the supposed sexual content, they were going to put an X on it. But I mean, you look back on it now, and there's nothing in it that's by contemporary standards that's eyebrow raising at all. But back then, I suppose, you know.
But yeah, superb film. Dustin Hoffman, Jon Voight, fantastic performances of its time. An incredible story.
John Schlesinger film.
Yeah.
British director.
And just totally heartbreaking in the end, you know.
Yeah,
and,
it is a true weepy.
It gets you right there, and I think, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, let's get down to number 2 picks. Let's take away the screens for number 2. I had Dances with Wolves, which is one of my favourite films ever. I think it won a lot of Oscars that year, other than Best Picture. But it's one of my favourites of all time. I really love it. It's a bit like the Oscars show itself. It's very long. It's an epic film. A bit like Gladiator, it's not based in actual factual things, but there's a lot about it that you could say, oh, this is kind of based on this and kind of based on that. And the time period itself is accurate. But a very special film. Again, talking about the Marlon Brando thing about representations of Native Americans, this is in a way Kevin Costner rectifying that image a little bit. And even though people would probably still criticize it now, all these years later, for one reason or another, I think at the time, you know, Costner's heart was in the right place because he's got some sort of ancestry in some Native American tribes there. I think he had a vested interest in portraying them in the most accurate and authentic way possible.
Yeah, it's an absolutely superb film. It's exactly the kind of thing the Academy looked for again. But yeah, another epic, picking up multiple awards and a fantastic film and performance from Kevin Costner. I've gone for No Country for Old Men.
Brilliant film.
My most recent pick.
Absolutely.
Timeline wise, just an amazing film. We both loved this. I think most people love it. Popular
Coen Brothers piece, that is.
Yeah, Coen Brothers.
It certainly makes our top 5 Coen Brothers films. Another article that we've written is on our website. You can check it out in the links below.
And I think it was one of the most deserving of more recent entries, I think. And
nice to see a film like that winning because it's quite, you know, it's a sort of thriller in a way. It's a drama thriller, not something you typically think the Academy would get behind as a Best Picture winner. So it's kind of nice that it won in that sense, isn't it?
Certainly a more kind of populist film. This was something that I would expect more people go and watch. It's not so niche as most Best Pictures. A lot of Best Pictures end up being, and so it is more in that kind of, you see, thriller action kind of thingy, and a bit of a throwback as well because in more recent years it's been a lot of biopics and that kind of stuff that wins, and this was kind of one of the ones that stood out as in, oh no, they've gone for you know, something very different and something, you know, more kind of 60s Oscar wise, I think. But an alternative film, so to speak, certainly in terms of the Academy.
Well done.
Okay, so that brings us to the top spot, numero uno, number 1. Let's have a look what's behind the screens. Okay, so I've gone for one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion. And as mentioned before, Steven Spielberg's first sort of slew of Oscars came all at once for this great, great picture based on Thomas Keneally's book, Schindler's Ark. It is, of course, Schindler's List. I mean, what can you say? It's it's the ultimate Holocaust movie, I suppose.
It is. It's, heart-wrenching, powerful.
Yeah.
It's almost indescribable, I think most people, especially in this country, have seen the film and know the film. It gets shown to a lot of us at school. It's well deserving of the Oscar and the plaudits it got over the years, and a fantastic victory, for Spielberg.
It's one of those that comes along. I think it's an important film.
Yeah.
We're just talking about No Country for Old Men. Great, fantastic movie. Really enjoy it. A lot of fun, but not what I consider to be an important film, because very few films are, whereas Schindler's List, for me personally, I think it is an important film. It has been criticized over the years. Some people saying that Spielberg sort of made it a little bit too light in a way. I remember Terry Gilliam saying something about the Holocaust is something that had no hope in it whatsoever, and Spielberg tried to bring a little bit of hope into it. But I don't agree with that. I don't agree with Gilliam on that, because it is a story of hope, because it's about somebody that actually risked their own life and sacrificed everything that they'd made on the back of the slavery of the Jewish prisoners. And actually ended up saving a lot of them. I would say that's hopeful. It shows that despite the darkest of circumstances, and that surely is the darkest thing in our history, the Holocaust, that it shows that even in those circumstances, somebody did the right thing. I mean, knockout performances from Ben Kingsley, from Ralph Fiennes, Liam Neeson as well, best performance he ever gave, in my opinion. But really, a very important film.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely, as you say, it's one of the most important films in the long, illustrious history of film. I've picked Godfather Part 2 here. Of course, both the first and second film won the Best Picture, so it could have been either one. I think the second one is the best, personally.
Okay.
I think iconic film, iconic performances, influenced so much after it. It's such a thrilling film, a thrilling tale.
Yeah.
It's got everything for me. It's like, it's one of those films that is like, if I was to write down all the recipe ingredients for what I like in a film and put them on a list, this is one of the films that ticks it all,
Yeah.
So,
fair enough.
It's absolute perfection to me.
Yeah, well, no argument from me. I absolutely love the first two Godfather movies. If it were me, I'd go for the first one first, but I love the second one as well. It has got everything in it. I love the fact that it flashes back to the past and we see Vito's backstory, and Robert De Niro plays Vito in it. And you see his, from being a child in Sicily, and it brings it all the way up to going to America and becoming, what we know as the Godfather. But yeah, fantastic. Francis Ford Coppola, you just couldn't touch him in them days. He was the man, the master.
I don't think you ever could, to be honest.
Again, you might want to check out our top 5 Francis Ford Coppola films. I know that The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2 are both in there as one of the entries. So there's another 4 there to be checked out. Again, we'll put a link into the description if you want to check that out.
But there we go. There are our picks. Let us know your thoughts down below. And
list off your top 5s. Let us know what you think.
That's it for this video. Thanks for checking it out. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and press the bell icon for notifications. You can see more of our news, reviews and articles over on our website, moremovies.co.uk. And remember to follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at More Movies For You. Remember, if you like our content, you can support us at buymeacoffee.com, link in the description below. To check out more of our fantastic content, click one of the buttons on screen now.